My name is Jide. I'm a development consultant, author, public affairs analyst, and columnist with the Punch newspaper. First and foremost, there's no controversy with BVAS. What currently obtains is lack of understanding of what the law says about the deployment of the bimodal voter accreditation system. It is not the first time Nigeria is using electronic or biometric accreditation system. In 2015, we used the smart card reader. But when that smart card reader was used, it was used along with what is called incident form because of the glitches that was witnessed with the smart card reader, where some people's fingerprints could not be captured. And in order not to disenfranchise them, the Independent National Electoral Commission made provision for what is called incident form. So if your finger could not be captured for proper accreditation, then you are just given an incident form to write your details, and then you are allowed process to vote. Similarly, in 2019, smart card reader was used, and even though INEC said in 2019 that there will be no use of smart card reader, what happened then was that the presiding officer is asked to write the phone number of the person who could not be accredited besides the name on the register. Now, between 2019 and 2020, INEC ICT staff came up with an advanced system called bimodal voter accreditation system. Since people have issues with their fingerprint authentication, mark you, smart card reader does two things. It first will authenticate the permanent voter's card, that's PVC, to be sure it's not cloned and it's not that it's the one issued by INEC. Number two is to process voter for accreditation. Because election loses its essence the moment you cannot control act of impersonation, underage voting, and all of that. So INEC between 2019 and 2020 came up with what is called bimodal voter accreditation system. Now, this BVAS does about four things. First, it can be used to register voter. So it is called voter enrollment device. Voter enrollment device when it's used to register voter. Two, it's used for accreditation. Three, it's used to verify the permanent voter's card. Four, it is used to transmit polling unit result to what is called INEC Result Viewing Portal, IREV. So, the period of voter registration has come and gone. INEC has suspended that exercise. And of course, we saw between December 12th and February 5th, people were asked to collect their permanent voter's card for those who are newly registered. Now, during the February 25 election, national elections, BVAS was deployed for the first time nationwide. Our viewers need to understand that BVAS had previously been used only for statewide elections. In fact, in 2020, when it was initially piloted, it was used in a state constituency election, I think in Delta and in Nasarawa State. Thereafter, we had it used in Anambra for statewide election, Ekiti, Osun, statewide. Now, there is no controversy about the performance of BVAS. I I've read Yaga Africa's report. Yaga Africa said BVAS was deployed in about 98% of the polling units. And we have 176,606 polling units. And that it worked optimally in about 88%. So just do the maths. If it worked if it worked perfectly without each in 88 out of 98 or thereabout percent. So, and there is a provision in the INEC regulation and guidelines for 2023 election that where a BVAS malfunctions, error will be corrected. If it cannot be fixed, then the election will be postponed and will be held the following day. So, for all the observer reports I've read, none has come out very strongly to say, oh, BVAS was not performing optimally. I read about few incidences of maybe BVAS not being used because, you know, there is this Yaga Africa published a report of risk factors for 2023 general elections. And one of them is, one of the risk factors is the resistance to the use of BVAS, because it's meant to be a game changer. So there could be maybe few polling units where maybe rural communities, they said, no, don't use BVAS because they want to commit electoral fraud. Now, I do not know how widespread this will be, but to the best of my knowledge from the information available, BVAS was used in most. And you see, let's be sincere with ourselves. There is no perfect election anywhere. And even the court will most likely look at election from whether there was substantial compliance, not whether there was 100% compliance. This is a device, it's a technical device which can develop issues, can have glitches without problem. Even cars do develop. A newly bought car can have issues, even despite being new. However, I'm not holding brief for INEC. Let INEC come out with their own statistics. I think where the issue is with the 2023 national election was the last function I said BVAS was supposed to play. And what was it? For transmission of polling unit results to the IRF portal. And this is what we are told it was, the way we were told it will be done. That the polling unit result, after the announcement, not declaration now, after the announcement of the scores of different political parties that contested in a unit, and the filling of those scores into what is called EC8A form, which is the polling unit result, the presiding officer will use the BVAS to take a snapshot or to scan the EC8A form. So what is being transmitted is not raw data, it's not raw figure, it's not the result, as in just typing in the result of the polling unit. No, they are not typing in. It's a scanned result of the polling unit, EC8A form. And that is the one that is now uploaded on IRF portal. Now, people have read about a lot of misinformation where people say, oh, INEC is in breach for not uploading the polling unit result. I don't think so. When the National Assembly, Jide, if you follow through the argument of the National Assembly before the passage of the Electoral 2022, The Senate passed a version that says electronic transmission is not allowed because they felt we don't have the infrastructure and all of that. But the House of Reps passed a version that says INEC can deploy based on its own assumption of preparedness. So it is not like it has to be, it wasn't mandated. Electronic transmission of result wasn't mandated. He said, okay, those who are saying, oh, INEC is in breach for not transmitting. Well, they forgot that the law has also empowered INEC to do what is called electronic voting. The law has already said INEC can do electronic voting, but INEC said we are not doing electronic voting. There was no electronic voting machine deployed. So it says whenever INEC is ready, and if you want me to read the exact portion, I can fetch my Electoral Act, the signed copy, the gazetted copy, and read that section to you. So the National Assembly did not mandate. It says as it's like when INEC feels it is ready. Now, what INEC promised was not e-collation. INEC did not say we will do electronic collation. Mark you, what INEC is committed and the Lord made mandatory to INEC is that there must be manually collated result. So when you finish at the polling unit level, you announce the result, you take it to the Ward Collation Center. That's the first collation point. So you collect all the polling unit result for that ward at the Ward Collation Center. From that Ward Collation Center, you move to the next layer, which is the Local Government Collation Center, manually. The third is State Collation Center. And for presidential election, the fourth layer is at the Abuja level, National Collation Center at ICC. Now, people need to understand all of this because emotions are high and people are dwelling on misinformation, disinformation, deliberate falsehood. That INEC, you see, I have someone who sent me a collated result on a something like Excel sheet, like a bar chart or bar chart. The one parallel, horizontal. When I saw it, I laughed. I said, how did you arrive at this? I said, this is misinformation. What INEC transmitted, which is the EC8A form, cannot be self-collated. It's not results. It's not like you are inputting figures. You get, if you are inputting figure into an Excel sheet, it can give you summary. So you know what the final scores is. And that's the one INEC projected. If you recall, projecting the scores of each party and what they score and what the percentage is. That is electronic collation. But that electronic collation was not what INEC committed to for 2023. It says in its regulation, not even in the Electoral Act, there is nothing, I dare say, and anybody can challenge Jide Ojo on this, there is nowhere in the Electoral Act where IREF was mentioned. Nowhere. And I have a copy, official copy of IREF, of Electoral, nowhere, not even a line, not a sentence, where Electoral says there shall be uploading of results on IREF portal. No. And as I've established, IREF precedes Electoral 2022. The same way the use of smart card reader precedes Electoral 2022. Am I communicating? So people should just calm down. I know people have invested so much in this election. They've invested monies, they've invested time, they've invested other resources, knowledge. But this is not the time to burn down the country with falsehood. We have no other country apart from this. And I'm talking authoritatively. Please, I'm on record. There is nowhere in the Electoral Act where there is a commitment to uploading of result or IRF, Electoral Act. And that is the ground norm. Now, INEC said we will upload results real time on the IRF portal. That is where I find the commission culpable. This commitment was made. However, the commission has issued a statement on February 26, which is available in public domain, to say that they had glitches with that portal on the morning of February 25th. Is the word of the commission against the rest of us? Is it true they had glitches? Or was this made up? If it is true, the commission had glitches, is it something that is unheard of globally that you can? But people have said, those who take the position that FCT does not have special status, have said that, look, if FCT were to be treated as a special case, then people, those of us residing in FCT, should have had a separate passport, or, you know, kind of treated differently from the rest of the country. I'm not going to be conclusive on that. I've only put out what the legal opinions are. But I know, and I want to commend the opposition who have chosen to go to court. Both Atiku Abubakar, former vice president, has done a lot to enriching our electoral democracy in Nigeria. Recall that he's going to court in 2007 to fight different aspects of the law as today become what is called locus classicus. It was Atiku Abubakar that went to court to challenge his removal from office as vice president when Obasanjo declared his seat vacant on the basis that he has defected to AC in 2006. What did the Supreme Court rule? The Supreme Court said, look, the joint ticket that Obasanjo is using as a basis to declare the seat of Atiku Abubakar vacant, that after defecting from PDP to AC, he can no longer be said to be vice president. That joint ticket ended at election. That the moment they were inaugurated, they have their individual life. And today, that's why you see in several states where a governor will belong to Party A and the deputy governor will defect or may choose not to defect. So we have seen that happen in Sokoto State when Tambuwal defected from APC to PDP. You know, his deputy refused to defect with him. And they met at the poll, and he just narrowly defeated the guy. In Kano, there was also a case of when Ganduje defected, and you know his deputy did not, and all of that. So it was Atiku Abubakar challenging his declaration of seat vacant that gave us that position. There was also the issue of substantial compliance with the law, when Atiku Abubakar challenged the non-serialization of ballot paper for 2007 election, and the fact that they were not they were not in a bunch and all of that. Yeah, the lordship said, well, yes, you are right. The ballot paper should have been serialized, but it still did not vitiate and did not in any way take away the fact that the person who was declared the winner won. So it's good to enrich our electoral democracy. Let's have a conclusive definition of two-thirds of FCT. Is FCT a special case? Is FCT just any other state? So if you have 25% in 25 states, it's cover up for FCT or whatever. And you see, from all indications, we should also be mindful of this. People have bandied Kenya situation, where as a result of discrepancy between the manually collated result and the one that was uploaded. In 2017, that election was declared null and void by a split decision of 4-3. What was the outcome? The outcome was that a repeated election was held. A rerun election was held between Raila Odinga's party, Orange Movement. And at the end of the day, the commission, it was asking for the disbandment of the electoral management body, the constitution of another one, and so many other things. And they said, look, you do not have that right. And we are not going to accede. It's either you join us for this rerun or do what. And at the end of the day, he opted out. And Raila Odinga ended up with having more votes than he had in the first ballot. So at the end of the day, so much resources was wasted, nullifying that election and organizing a rerun. But that is history. People just need to know when they cite that as a classical example. Oh, in Kenya, the result was nullified. Even if you have a rerun today, and this is a personal opinion I'm expressing, and I've written on this in my column in The Punch. I said, the reason apparently why Bola Ahmed Tinubu won was not because APC was preferred by majority of Nigerians. Not with this hardship, not with this excruciating pains, but because the opposition camp was in disarray. And that's what we still see. And I said conclusively that P2B, Rabi Musa Kwankwaso, and the G5 governors were the destiny helpers of Tinubu in this election. Because if you had what Atiku Abubakar scored, to what Obi scored, to what Kwankwaso scored, it's almost double what Bola Tinubu scored or APC. So, even if this election were to be declared null and void, and you still went into a rerun with the same number of people, the outcome would not be much different. Because, and I'm being hypothetical here. I'm talking like a political scientist here, not like a partisan person. See, a house divided against itself cannot stand. When PDP ruled Nigeria for 16 years, it ensured that the opposition camp was perpetually in disarray. They never was able to have a united front until 2013, when APC formed a merger with ACN, CPC, part of ABGA, and which other part, and some G5 governors of PDP. That was what became a game changer for APC in 2015. But fast track, in 2023, you have Peter Obi, who was a running mate to Atiku Abubakar in 2019, going it alone. You have a Rabi Musa Kwankwaso, who was a senator under PDP, going it alone. You have 5G governors who said, we are not working for our presidential staff bearer. And then you now have, on top of all of this, a crisis-ridden PDP that was more like an empty shell going into this election. So, what else do you need to know that the outcome is predictable? I'm not saying the election was perfect, but if the opposition had united, if the G5 governors did not decide, because, okay, let's do the statistics. Ahead of the election, APC has 21 states, controls 21 states. PDP controls 14. APGA controls 1. Now, the 21 states of APC remained intact going into this election. Nobody defected. None of the governors of APC defected. Even after the primaries, as tension-soaked as the primaries were, usually the fallout of primaries, you see people defecting, isn't it? APC governors, 21 of them went solidly, and they were actually the one that architected the emergence of Asiwaju Bola Ahmed Tinubu. Jide, you recall, on the eve of the party APC primary, Senator Adamu Abdullahi came to the National Working Committee of PDP, of APC, to announce that the president's preferred candidate was what? Dr. Ahmed Lawan, the president of the Senate. It was the APC governors that went and met Mr. President and said, look, you cannot be partisan in this. Stay off. Let the best person emerge. And what happened? Of course, after the emergence of Tinubu, the likes of Amici and several others who contested against him decided to stay back. Now, but none of the 21 governors left the party. But compare that to 14 governors of PDP, where 5 said, our standard bearer, we will not work for you because we refuse power shift to the south. Our national chairman promised to resign if a northern candidate emerges as the standard bearer for our presidential race. He should fulfill that, otherwise we are not supposed. And it was like a play. But you know that that was what played into this. How will APC have won Rivers anyway, if not for the fact that this G5 governor played anti-party? Look at Oyo State. The 33 local governments in Oyo State were won by APC on February 25. So these are factors and variables that worked against the opposition in this election. However, I wish them the best as they have gone to court. Let's hope that substantial justice will be done, will be better for it. Our electoral jurisprudence will be better for it, whatever their lordship ruled at the end of the day. Me, I think there will be bigger and better turnout on March 18, for the simple reason that in this forthcoming election, there are more seats being contested. I've done this analysis on several media channels. On February 25th, we had election being contested into 470 constituencies, 1 presidential seat, 109 Senate seats, and 360 House of Reps seats. So altogether 470. But March 18 election will be in close to 1,000 constituencies. There are about 36 elections, supplementary elections that will be held, arising from their inconclusiveness in the February 25 election. Then there are 993 State House of Assembly seats. That in itself has put the figure over 1,000 seats. Then you have 28 governorship seats. So you are looking at possibly close to 1,020 or 30 seats being contested. So because there are more seats being contested now, the people who will be mobilizing their supporters to vote will be more than in February 25. Remember, the election of February 25 was a national election. They were talking of Abuja politicians were the ones that were elected on February 25. So people who go to Abuja who may never even come to their constituency in the next 4 years. But governors reside in the state capital. The State House of Assembly members, honorable members, will be in the state. So this is a local election, proper local election. And I believe, and I want to give any benefit of that, that the election will be better conducted. So that is for, in terms of potential turnout. However, I must hasten to say, even if my hypothesis does not work, in which case we still have lower turnout, it's because we have failed to do the needful. What is the needful? Jide, I don't see any reason why all the 5 elections could not have been held on February 25. It's just a matter of having additional 2 ballot boxes and print additional 2 ballot papers. In August 2022 election in Kenya, elections were held into 6 offices in the same day. Election could be held into 5 offices in the same day. There is nothing sacrosanct about having 2 elections in 2 tranches. No, it's not even a prescription of the law. The Constitution never said INEC should conduct the election over 2 Saturdays. So I think it's high time we consider this issue of having all elections being conducted in one day. That will bring more people and that will improve the turnout. That's one. 2, in Kenya, in August 2022 elections in Kenya, prisoners voted. There was out of country voting, not globally, but in 12 countries. Some of them, African countries contiguous to Kenya. Kenyans residing outside of Kenya were able to vote for the presidential candidate. In Germany, Kenyans voted. Kenyans in US, Kenyans in Canada, Kenyans in UK were able to vote for the presidential candidate of their choice. So where is Nigeria with out-of-country voting? We do not have that provision. There is no provision for early voting. In Ghana, when I went to Ghana in 2008, Ghanaians who are going to be on election duty will have had 1 day set aside for them to go cast their ballots in special centers, just that the result will not be counted along until the day of the general elections. Nigeria does not have that provision. I just told you that prisoners voted in Kenya. It's whether the issue of reconfiguration of BVAS. That in itself is the best decision. Those who are saying INEC needn't reconfigure did not know what they are talking about. You want to use something for election in about 5 days' time. Some people are saying this same device, we want to have one-on-one look. They are not saying give us the information. They said they want to physically inspect each of the, and there is 176,606 polling units. And the legal team wants to have so they want to pick one BVAS, look at the data, record the data, then take the polling unit result, ECATA form, compare the number of accredited to the number that is written. That is a tedious exercise. And just imagine, okay, Labour Party was the first to rush to the court on the 3rd of March. Give me order. Okay, you have the order. A day after, PDP went, give me the order. The court gave the order. APC went, give me the order. Now, who will do first? Who will do second? Who will do third? If all of them were to queue to inspect the same devices, so who says that even in the course of inspection of those devices, that those observers, those people cannot alter the result? Or will INEC be present all through? Or will INEC give it to them to take to their party secretariat or their campaign office and then return it to us? People need to think. Let's use our brain. So you want to collect 176,606 devices and go and do forensic audit? Call your expert? So when will APC have its own turn? And mark you, petitions are to be filed within 21 days of the result declared. So Labour Party has run to. So if the court did not agree with INEC and now say, okay, you can have the devices as they claim they want. So it will take another 1 month or 2 for Labour Party to be done because they want to find fault. You get? So they will have their own forensic experts, tech people, who can even, in the course of doing this observation, manipulate the result. And in order to discredit the exercise. I don't know if you are getting me. So what the court has said basically is that INEC said their ICT has given assurances that they can transfer this same information you want to have on the need for you to see the BVAS. This same information will be transferred to a back-end database where you can access. And we can even print a certified true copy for you. So it then means, this is the best way forward, it then means that both APC, PDP, LP, even NNPP, if it requests, all of them can be attended to at the same time. So you want this, okay, this is how much you pay to print the certified true copy. I don't know if you get my idea. This is the information. This is our backend server. We'll print for you the same information you want to collect our BVAS. BVAS is not the property of any political parties. BVAS is the property of INEC. So how do you want to go? Because I don't know which INEC office do they want to be sitting to observe one by one all of these 176,606, and how long will it take them? Or they will now force INEC officials to come on Saturday, on Sunday, on public holiday, because they need to put together their petition within 21 days. And you are alleging fraud widespread. So at the end of the day, the Court of Appeal has done the best thing under the circumstance. INEC has sworn to an affidavit. We will make all this information you have requested for, we will transfer it to our backend and make it available to you. And we will issue you a certified true copy. So as they are giving to Labour Party, they are giving to PDP, they are giving to NNPP, they are giving to APC. And don't forget, it's not only the presidential candidates that are challenging the outcome of this election. There are other states, other senatorial candidates who felt that they were robbed, who will also be needing the information as per their own senatorial district. So there are many people who will be asking for the same document. So they cannot be taking turns to now bring their own expert at every turn to say, oh yeah, let's have your BVAS. That is what they did in Osun. They had BVAS. They inspected BVAS. But Osun was a one-off election. There was no immediate election coming. In this respect, there are two tranche elections. One has been held. If that decision did not come, there is no way. Even the fact that the decision was made on Wednesday, it was late in the day, around 6 p.m. And to reconfigure these BVAS, 176,606 of them, would take nothing less than 1 week. And I'm sure this will even be, these people will be working 24 hours to be able to meet, because by next Wednesday, this deployment has to start. So, and you cannot distribute other materials without the BVAS and think you want to go and conduct election. So, that is number two. Number one question you asked about whether this can be concluded before May 29. No, it's mathematically impossible. Look, sections 285 of the Constitution has talked about, one, presidential election petition at the court of first instance, in which case, for now, for the presidential election, the court of first instance is the court of appeal. For governorship election, the court of first instance is the election petition tribunal for governorship. Now, the law, Constitution says 6 months is what is given for resolution of election dispute at the court of first instance. So for the presidential candidate, the case will be on for 6 months. And I tell you, Jide, I tell you for free, this will, all these people that are shouting, they will call 2 million witnesses. Atiku knows better. In 2019, Atiku put together about 1,500 witnesses. They could only take 43 or 40 something. Because, see, this is the way it works. For each polling unit you allege fraud, there will be examination by your own counsel, and there will be cross-examination by the defendant. So one witness can stay for 2 weeks. You are still on one person. Okay, Mr. Ojo, you said you are a witness. Are you an accredited observer at that polling unit? If you say yes, can we have evidence? Did you have a badge? Was your name forwarded to INEC? You know, all of these things. Okay, at what point did you observe this? You know, those technical questions. Did you ever leave the polling unit at any point in time on that day? Did you go to it? If you went to it, how then did you know? You know, those kind of things. Fireworks. For each polling unit you cross, call a witness, and there will be cross-examination. And there are, in every state, you have, in some states, up to 6,000 polling units. In some, 3,000 plus polling units. So if you allege a statewide fraud, how then do you want to prove? And it's state by state. You cannot say the entire election was flawed. How was it flawed? So the basis of your claim of fraud is to take it polling unit by polling unit, ward by ward, local government by local government, state by state. And you have 6 months. And mark you, there's what is called technicalities. It is in that process, somebody will say, oh, this petition was filed on a Sunday. Sunday is a public holiday. This case should be thrown out. You will say, no, according to this authority. Then somebody will come and say, you use red pen to sign this petition. It should be blue pen. Then they stamp. And this one is not a certified true copy. Oh, this one is electronically generated. It's not. Then you go court law of evidence. And by the time some will even go to Supreme Court. In the process of 160 days, 180 days, your 180 days, according to Supreme Court, is cast in stone like a rock of Gibraltar. You cannot spend 1 day. In fact, the case is so that judgment was given within 180 days. So if judgment will have to be given within 180 days, it then means that they will not allow you to run your case till the last day. So it's a mathematical impossibility. That's why some people like Lanet 16 and Femi Falana said, look, they will not be involved in any election petition, particularly if you are the defendant. It's easier if you are if you are the plaintiff, rather. It's easier if you are the defendant. You want to fish for time. You want to waste the court, the proceedings. You want to frustrate your... Look, I recall in 2019, this is my thought. I recall in 2019, some of the witnesses that Atiku Abubakar called, who are coming from Sanfara, bandits will lay them in the course of coming to... Some of them will be threatened. You get? Because in 2019, I recall this very well. Atiku came with truckload of exhibits of what he said it was fraud. Truckload, sacks of evidences. But he who alleges must prove, because it's a criminal allegation. If it's a civil case, it's a different thing. Criminal allegations means you have to prove beyond reasonable doubt. And proving beyond reasonable doubt is not easy. Because like I said, I've just given you a hypothesis that, okay, you are the first, if you are listed as a witness, they want to see your engagement letter. They want to be sure that you are officially accredited to be in that unit. They want to see that they want to see whether you are even alive to your responsibilities. They want to see whether you are fully present there throughout the day and all of that. But you know what the defendants will be doing is to waste the time of the plaintiff, because they know you are counting down to 180 days. So the moment is 180 days, bang, 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 end of the game. So what you do, even if you like, go and bring 2,000 witnesses. Court is not court of court ashipa, as we say in Yoruba land, where they will say everybody come in and say, oh yeah, say your own, say your own, say your own. Okay, that's okay. How do you respond? No, every unit you have to prove. For every unit, there will be examination and cross-examination, and from that unit to ward, from ward to local government, from local government to state. Then, so you are done with Lagos. Which state next? Oh, okay. Rivers. Oh yeah, unit by unit, ward by ward, local government. Now tell me, 180 days is not a lot of time for a presidential petition. It may be easier for governors, and that's why, Jide, it's easier for statewide election to be obtained, because 180 days, particularly for relatively small states, it may be easier for you to have a thorough inspection, to do due diligence and all of that. But for a country that has 176,606 polling units, and you are alleging widespread fraud, not in a particular state, you are saying, and you know what the claimant, what the victor will also be doing, what the person who has been declared winner will also be doing is to go to your own stronghold and start looking at what did not go well, and even petition that, okay, in Enugu, where you claim you scored 95%, this polling unit, when we checked your results here and that of IRF, it did not correspond. So we are also challenging that there was fraud, even where you won. So it will be, if you tackle me, I will double you. If you double me, I will tackle you. But that is the nature of election dispute resolution. I'm not in a position to say conclusively how this will go, but I think inauguration will happen, because inauguration is in 2 months' time, April, May. So inauguration will happen. The winner will be inaugurated. Then it will be in office. If the lordship said the election was badly conducted, go and have a rerun. It will be sitting there, and then they will have a rerun. Unless they said, oh, this election, because what, and you need to be very careful what you are saying. Labour Party on the night of Saturday said, cancel this election. You have not even exhausted all the parameters. You don't have the full picture. You said cancel. Now you are saying we won. It's no longer cancel. I don't know whether I'm making sense to you. On the Saturday night, your national chairman said, cancel this election. This election was not done accordingly. Cancel, cancel, cancel. Then, I've also now had the candidate saying, I will prove that we won this election. So it's no longer that we cancel, because if you want the election to be cancelled, you cannot benefit. You cannot have your own Labour candidate who have been declared winner at senatorial, and now election you want cancelled now. You cannot now say cancel only the presidential. It has to be everything. So collateral damage. So they have to be very firm. Which one? Is it that the election was badly conducted, the outcome was bad, so you want everything cancelled? If it is cancelled, that means there will be a rerun. But mark you, before that judgment will come, the inauguration will have taken place. And if you say you won, you have to prove beyond reasonable doubt as well. How did you win? In what? Did you meet the threshold of what is expected, what you are expected to have in the electoral, in the constitution? So these are the dilemma. But I mean, I don't want to speculate how this whole thing will pan out. We wait with bated breath, looking forward to substantial justice being done on this case.
So, thank you very much. And the last note.
One last question for you, sir.
Okay.
So, on the upcoming governorship election, do you think the postponement was justified, and what are the lessons learned from it?
It was justified. Given the fact that the Court of Appeal decision, the postponement was justified, given the fact that the Court of Appeal decision on Wednesday came in late in the day. And the reconfiguration that needed to be done would take a bit of time. It will take a while. So, invariably, there is no way you could have, if this election has been rushed through, we will have had worse outcome than the February 25. Because INEC will not have the time to put his house in order. I think there was a meeting of the commission that was held on Saturday, 26th of February. Last Saturday, which day was that? Where they had a review meeting and a statement was issued, and they identified that some of their staff, ad hoc or permanent, actually sabotaged the effort of the commission. They were to be replaced. There was to be what's it called? There was supposed to be a refresher training for the staff so that they could do a better job. And mark you, my sister, look at it. No fuel, no cash. In the midst of all of this, you want to run through the election. You're going to have, are we talking of 1 hour, 2 hours delay on Saturday? You will have had maybe election starting at 4 p.m. in most parts. Because when people don't have fuel, so people you have mobilized to go and buy fuel, they get to filling stations, they are spending days there. Even with their money, I have my money, I don't have fuel in my car. That's why I couldn't go out. So this is the challenge that should have been resolved. Infrastructural challenge, amenity challenge. I don't see why INEC had to provide its own water, provide generator to registration area center so that youth coming back can sleep over there and be deployed from there to polling unit. But these are the challenges we are contending with having conducting an election in Nigeria. So by and large, I believe the 1 week extension or 1 week shift will make INEC to do a better job. But that's if they want to learn. And I must end on this note. It's a crying shame that today political parties are pointing an accusing finger at INEC for doing a bad election. The election that they themselves conducted, the primaries they conducted, there are over 600 petitions across the 18 political parties at the court over who is the actual candidate. The court just ruled, Supreme Court just ruled today that Shekarau is not the senator-elect for Kano Central. It's Anga or something. This is after the election has been conducted. The same thing in Akoko North, Akoko South area of House of Reps in Ondo, where the candidacy of the rightful candidate has not been resolved. Is it INEC that conducted those primaries? It was conducted by political parties, and they are now the ones grandstanding that INEC did the shoddy job, they did that. Look at how much many of them collected as nomination forms. So it's not as if they didn't have the money, but look at how they messed up the entire party primaries. But that is on the one side. They work for the commission just for 2 days. So you get a presiding officer from National Youth Service Corps. He or she comes in on the eve of election, and on the day of election, by whatever time he or she finishes, it ceases to be an ad hoc staff. He's waiting for his payment for his labor, isn't it? But whatever he does in those 2 days is in the name of the commission. And I've asked this question. When people accuse INEC chairman, say, oh, he is a... So in conclusion, I think many of us have not advanced our mind to the challenge of conducting elections in a volatile post-conflict environment like Nigeria?